covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, sponsored by GoatLab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Got a few things to chat about after this weekend. Obviously, Arkansas, another close game, another close loss, 45-42 this weekend to Texas A&M team that moved up from number 4 to number 3 today in the polls. Two exciting offenses. I don't think either coach was excited about how their defense played. Mike Elko of Texas A&M certainly expressed that, and Bobby Petrino, the interim head coach for Arkansas, did as well after the ball game. But very interesting game, very exciting game, over 1,000 yards in total offense. Another vision of how good that offense has been this year, but how the defense just hadn't been able to stop anybody. Texas A&M 7 of 8 first possessions, or 7 of 8 of their possessions they scored on early in the ball game, and just were able to get a lot done with the quarterback Marcel Reed, who was matched almost play-by-play by obviously Taylor Green. Another great performance by him, but that was one of the things that will be factored in this coaching search, and obviously into how recruiting goes from this point on, whether Bobby Petrino, the interim head coach, gets to keep his job, or they look for somebody else. And I'm sure they're factoring in all that right now. But there's another thing that has happened this weekend that certainly I think will play into Arkansas's coaching situation as well, and that is Florida decided to let go of Billy Napier. 3-4 this season. Had been rumored that he wouldn't make it through the past, this game, and he ends up winning yesterday against Mississippi State, but that doesn't allow him to keep the job. They were ready to move on. 22-23, I think, overall in his tenure there. He is a guy that I've known for a long time, did a lot of recruiting in-state here in Arkansas, came after a lot of kids, got a few, didn't get a lot that ended up here at Arkansas when a lot of Arkansas kids were coming to Arkansas, that is. And as everybody knows, if you've watched this show, I'm real big on recruiting Arkansas and really going after these kids. But this job in Florida is going to be one of the, I think it's now 8 schools that have fired their coach during the middle of the season. Florida's probably going to be the best one of these jobs. So Penn State obviously really good as well, but Florida has the resources. They are now going to have their 5th coaching search since 2010, since Urban Meyer retired. So they're probably going to try to get it right. How this is going to play into what Arkansas is doing is, I've seen some early candidates for the job. Lane Kiffin's name is always mentioned, the current Ole Miss coach. He'll be thrown out there. Eli Drinkwitz, former Springdale coach, and obviously has gone through many places now in Missouri, has also done a really good job there this year. They're in a position where, I think they can lock him up for a long time if they wanted to, but obviously Penn State and Florida will both be schools that I'm sure will take a look and see what they can come up with, in regards to that. Another name that's been thrown around for the Florida as a possibility is SMU head coach, former Arkansas Razorback Rhett Lashley, who had a big win over Clemson yesterday. I think they've won their last 11 ACC games. His star continues to rise. He obviously, has been mentioned a lot as a candidate here at Arkansas, but he's going to be mentioned for Florida and a lot of other places as well, as he continues to have success down there. One thing that's going to happen for sure for him is he's either going to get an extended, really good deal at SMU, or he's going to end up at another, place, be it Arkansas, Florida, someplace else. But his star is on the rise, as we said. Got into the college football playoff last year, and is in position to do that again with the team that he's got this year. Kevin Jennings, an outstanding quarterback that he has. So that's all going to play into Arkansas' situation, I think, as well. A lot of people say, well, you're not looking at Lane Kiffin, you're not looking at Eli Drinkwitz. They're not going to come here. That's true, but Rhett Lashley is one of these teams, or he's one of these coaches of these teams that will be talked about and will continue to be talked about as we continue to move through the rest of this season. So as we mentioned, Florida, we'll have a lot of candidates. I'm sure they'll do their due diligence in getting the right head coach down there, at least try, as I said, be the fifth coaching search since 2010. So had a little problems in getting it right there, although they've had success over the years. Tons of resources for them to be able to go ahead and get them a good football coach. That will play into Arkansas. You look at how things would pivot. You have a situation where if, let's say, Rhett Lashley took that job, a lot of recruits he has at SMU, would they follow him to Florida? If he takes the job here at Arkansas, and if it's offered to him and he decides to do that, will they be able to bring some of the SMU recruits? If it's that Evan Goodwin from Bauxite, offensive lineman, generally regarded as the number 2 player in the state behind Danny Bill, the defensive tackle from Cross County, is someone that is committed to SMU. There's a lot of Texas players obviously committed to SMU. We'll just see how this plays itself out in the last couple of months here. Arkansas now 2-5, has lost 5 in a row after the wins over Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. A lot of one score games, as we've talked about. I know people get tired of moral victories and all that, but we have seen them play better these last 2 weeks in terms of getting some success against really good teams. I mean, ranked teams, and something that a lot of people want to see as they go forward. But the big question remains: how many games does Bobby Petrino have to win down the stretch to be able to really be considered for the job or get the job? We all know he's being considered right now. So, I don't think there's any set number. I've tried to talk to a lot of people inside the program and around the program, trying to get them to give some specifics, but it's just kind of up in the air right now. So if you look at, how many games he has to win and all this, there are at least a couple of games that you can't say are definite wins, certainly with a team that's lost 5 in a row, but there's a pathway to victory probably a little bit easier when you play in Auburn. Auburn played Missouri really well on Saturday night into overtime, but they're 0-4 in conference play under Hugh Freeze, who's one of these coaches has been mentioned as well. A lot of pressure on them on whether Auburn will make a move at the end of the year. They did a really good job recruiting last season, and you thought that then maybe this was a year they were going to be a lot better. But it's going to be a football team that comes in here. Arkansas will have to play turnover-free football like it did Saturday against in the game against Texas A&M. That obviously has been a factor all season in a lot of these losses, turnovers, but it was not something that was a problem Saturday. You get into situations here as you have these 3 home games in a row, Mississippi State being the third one in the trio of games. You had the opportunity to have a lot of recruits on campus. Obviously, the weather pushed the game back to 2 hours, but they did have a lot of kids here. Going to be interested to see how it goes about as they continue to recruit these kids with the uncertainty. You have a head coach in place. He has the interim label. You really have shown that you are exciting offensively, but defensively, it's been just a nonstop thing where the other teams are finding the end zone. Whether Bobby Petrino gets the head job or not, one of the big things I think you're going to have to see is not only a really good defensive coach be here, but Arkansas spend a lot of money on its defensive players. They spend more on offense from all reports right now, and that certainly is what it looks like out there on the football field. You're going to have to get into the NIL, make sure you're making the right decisions in terms of defensive linemen, linebackers, secondary. A lot of these guys are making plays, but they're not consistent in doing it. And obviously, the other teams, in addition to Arkansas running up a lot of total offense, are doing that the same against Arkansas. As usual, we always take time to thank our sponsor, GoatLab Brewery, with locations in Lowell and in Fayetteville. Obviously, the excitement was there yesterday as Arkansas played an exciting ball game. A lot of fans made it in before and after the ball game, to try their craft brews, to try their food that has been really good there at 212, just down from the university. It's certainly a situation that has become, as we said, the new pregame and postgame home. Arkansas Razorback football again. Two more home games this weekend. Auburn 11:45. We'll find out a little later today what the time of the game against Mississippi State will be. Rhonda and Bill Adams have done a great job with the GoatLab brewery locations in, as we said, Lowell and Fayetteville. Also with the Grove Comedy Club, one of my favorite stops to see comedy here in Northwest Arkansas. They'll be having things continuing like they had on Sunday is their Sunday special. All the pancakes you can eat, and also two beverages to go along with that, whether they be the craft beers or whatever you want. For $16, great deal there on Sunday morning, and obviously all you can eat pancakes is joy to my stomach. Enjoy that type of thing. Also, I want to talk a little bit more about we is this last week we saw Danny Bill, the regarded as the top player in the 2026 class in Arkansas, that defensive lineman from cross county that I talked about a little bit earlier. A decommit from Oklahoma State, Missouri and Ole Miss, Arkansas, or other places along with Mississippi State that he took visits. I'm sure that all those schools, including Arkansas, are going to do their best to try to land him. There's certainly, as we said, the uncertainty up here. But what would be interesting is if let's say Lane Kiffin makes the move from Ole Miss to Florida, how would that affect those Ole Miss kids that that are recruiting the kids in Arkansas? Same way with Eli Drinkwitz. If he were to take the Penn State job, Florida, or whatever, how would it play? Just a lot of uncertainty, not only here on campus, but in college football in general, as we go along and try to figure out, is how it's going to work with the different rules they have now. Obviously, there's the early December high school period. Lots of kids, including Kane Archer, the quarterback, who's a UCF commit, are enrolling early. So that kind of ups things even more. And then you've got the transfer portal, which is now set for January 2nd through 16th. And, that's going to change the fortunes of a lot of teams, probably some here in Arkansas. That's going to be maybe the most important thing that they have going into try to have success next year and try to turn things around quickly. We'll continue to monitor the 2026 kids, but 2027, there were several of those here this weekend as Arkansas took on Texas A&M, including Hank Hendricks, the quarterback from Fayetteville High, who moved in from Bourne, Texas. His dad, Shay, is now coaching the secondary at Arkansas after being brought in with the high school relations and an analyst post. So, had the opportunity to, watch him play. He's a really talented quarterback. Tons of offers already, but Bobby Petrino has made it known that if he's the head coach, he really wants to try to land that commit from Hank Hendricks. Hakeem Frampton is an interesting guy in the 2027 class as well. And you're doing your best to try to recruit these guys. Right now, he's at Joe T. Robson, who's had a great season, the cornerback, really an athlete that could play a lot of different positions, 5'11", about 150. He is already a Texas A&M commit, so that was an interesting game for him to watch yesterday, I'm sure. Being an Aggie commit, he did that not too long ago. And Mike Elko has done a really good job down there, not only winning football games, they're 7-0 for the first time since 1994, but also recruiting, getting an early start on an Arkansas kid with a commit there. Jeremiah Dent, as I think we mentioned on last week's show, running back from Marion, maybe the best running back in the state. Missouri, Ole Miss, Arkansas are some of the schools that he's looking at. Was scheduled to be here this weekend. Micah Gamble is another kid from Fordyce, Arkansas, running back, really good, kind of a 5'9", 180 guy that has a lot of speed. And then Trey Stewart is a young man that's a linebacker from Little Rock Central. Really excited about how Little Rock Central has done a really good job at trying to turn that program around, doing a really good job at bringing a lot of players in there and developing them, including Anthony Kennedy, who we've talked about earlier, is a 2026 kid that is committed to Miami that's playing at Little Rock Central. So that's kind of that consists as top 5 2027 players here in Arkansas. As we said, Akeem Frampton already committed to Texas A&M. Whoever is the head coach next season, be it Bobby Petrino or Brett Lashley or anybody else they might bring in here, is going to have to do a really good job in working with the Arkansas high school coaches and going after these 2027 guys. A lot of these 2026 guys committed or going elsewhere, as we've said a lot on the show. Six current Arkansas commits that are from Arkansas, and there's 30 that have been offered at least one elite Division One offer, and that number is just not going to be able to help Arkansas get where it needs to go. But as we can see, there's just if you get some defensive guys in here and this defense, you get this turned around. You get the you could win a few football games and compete in the SEC, which you're not doing defensively right now. And again, I want to point out that, in this day and age, I never thought I'd say this, but you have to spend money on the defense and able to get, to get the top players in NIL. That's happening all over the SEC. It's got to happen at Arkansas. We've seen that Coach Petrino and Arkansas has put together a really good offense and obviously spent money on that side, but got to make sure you're balancing it out. Have a defense that can commit, it can compete. It should say in the SEC because it will always be defense first. To this guy who grew up in Newport, and that was that was stressed down there. Again, as we talk about the different recruits. Jordan Harris, the young man who we had on here last week, this head coach Brian Maupin from Maumelle, listed as an Arkansas recruit. He visited Oklahoma State over the weekend. It's an interesting situation in that neither one has a certainty in terms of the head coach, but he'll go to a lot of big games this week. We'll be looking at a lot of things and seeing who's going to come up here and visit and kind of keeping you up with all the details in recruiting here at Arkansas, as uncertain as they might be right now. Appreciate everybody watching and listening to the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast that presented by GoatLab Brewery. Be sure to subscribe to all the great content we have here at Inside Arkansas on YouTube, and also the audio versions where you can get anywhere that you go to get your audio podcasts. I'm Dudley Dawson. We'll see you next time. As I always say, remember, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Let's go out and make the world a better place by doing something good.